All right, so Succession, episode 7 of season 4. We got 3 episodes left after this one. We had talked last week about the episode where, Kendall takes the stage and he announces Living Plus. I think we both agreed it was our least favorite of the season. Not that we didn't like it, but we thought it was definitely the weakest of the episodes. But I think this was a great, return to form episode here.
Sure.
Very contained. It takes place pretty much all at this pre-election party that we end up seeing Matsson crashes. So then we get some drama there.
Thanks to Shiv.
Yeah, always thanks to Shiv. We get some great interactions between characters as always, and it obviously hits ahead with one of the best scenes in the show with Shiv and Tom going at each other. But Nick, what'd you think of this episode? Overall thoughts?
Overall, before we dive deep, I thought it was significantly better than the previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, every time Shiv and Tom have tried to discuss anything before, it always ends with one of them saying, right now is not a good time. We'll talk about this later. And that finally all that came to a head, which is great. I love that we find out that Matsson is actually an asshole as opposed to just pretending to be one or whatever, like it's real. Ebba, great character.
Yeah.
Very underrated character. More from Greg back in the kind of in the saddle of where I think he should be. I liked it. I'm significantly ready to dive deep. There was one scene, and it's actually the very first scene that I was not a fan of.
Okay.
As usual, I have all of our pictures in order.
Is this when they're talking about the funeral? Oh, this scene.
This scene right here, with regard to...
it was a little out of nowhere, wasn't it?
And we never revisit.
No. He doesn't remember to call her. So obviously...
but it's never recalled, so we forget as well as the viewer.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He doesn't go like, oh, shit, I forgot to call my daughter.
Yeah. There's none of that. None of that.
Yeah, this was very random. She hadn't been in the season. I haven't seen her in a while. It's been a while since we've seen her.
So whenever I watch this, and again, I'm looking at everything from the perspective of somebody as if I was writing the checks to you as the writer for the show.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, let's say you bring me a script for this episode. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read this script, and it's a good scene. The scene itself isn't bad, right? But does the course of the show, now again, we don't know because there's more episodes to come.
Yeah.
But does the course of the show change based on whether or not this scene is included?
Yeah, right. Especially this episode,
And as an episode, right, if we never revisit the issues between Kendall and... We have 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
So... with regard to this, for the entire show, it's not like we have another season,
And we already know Kendall has a bad
not the greatest dad.
with his dad. Yeah,
he's not the greatest dad in the world.
So, this is definitely a scene that if they were really needed it could have waited.
Right.
Or it could have been executed better.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, anyway, that was just one thing.
That was the weird prologue. Yeah, but let's get into the real good stuff here.
I added this picture. You didn't have this in there.
Oh, yeah, when Tom gives her the scorpion.
Because it's one of those things, right? Now, this is moderately a sexist take, admittedly, and it's stereotypical of women and everything else, and I apologize in advance, but I think for purposes of the show it makes sense, because Shiv does tend to get, maybe not as a woman, maybe it's just her character, but she does tend, all 3 of the children, actually, let's back up here, hold on, I'm sorry, all 3 of the children, one little minor thing is world-ending to these kids, okay? It doesn't matter who the situation is, whether it's Roman people saying that he's not like his father, so he just fires everybody, or Kendall being ditched by his brother, and we'll see that came a little bit to a head in the last scene of this episode. We find out how Kendall really feels about shit, which I liked. Or Shiv gets a gift that's supposed to be like a ha-ha thing. Maybe it's funny, maybe it's not, but oh my God.
Yeah.
It plays into this episode because they've finally rekindled their relationship, Tom and Shiv.
Somewhat, yeah.
Somewhat. He goes, my little, what is it? What does he call her? Oh, my sex machine or whatever it was, you know? That's kind of where this episode starts.
Yeah.
And he gets her a gift. Now, he gives it to her in a similar box to the watch that he gave Logan, season 1, episode 1. Which I thought was kind of funny. A little bit of a recall. But then he takes out
I was going to say he's a shit gift giver. They never
he really is. But then he pulls out this scorpion in acrylic glass or whatever it is thing and says that she's a scorpion.
Yeah.
But it totally ruins her mood. Like she's done.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
She's done for the rest of the episode, which I think is funny. It's a scorpion. Because you kill me, I kill you.
Yeah. It's a good line.
And she's totally so upset about it, which I think is hilarious.
But we love Tom. That's why we love Tom.
It just shows the unhealthy communication, too, in the couple. Because, like, normally you would say, well, like, you don't have to. Communicating doesn't mean that you have to fight. But this is a prime example of why they fight. Because she's upset about it. It hurt her feelings, which is fine. But she doesn't say that. She goes, you probably should get to work. And then look what happens later in the episode. A combination of every single time that happens, and they don't talk about stuff.
Yeah.
And then they blow up at each other. I mean, it's a lack of
up.
communication on the part of everyone.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. But I also think that she should know at this point that he's an idiot. And that he's a bad gift giver.
Yeah.
And, like, he's
All those
quirky.
things, yeah.
What are you doing? He's quirky. So, like, what are we doing here? That
will
kind of
definitely
deal.
come to a head at the end of the episode.
I just thought it was a funny scene to include.
Yeah.
That's all. Then we go to...
this little meeting with the kids before the party. Finally, some more Connor. We haven't gotten a lot of Connor, but obviously we knew that Connor's been busy planning the funeral for Logan, which I'm starting to believe more and more that's going to be the finale, it seems like. But
yeah,
obviously
so too.
Marsha's doing her thing with that too. But, they sit down, they talk about it, and what'd you think? What did you think of this little...
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I think there's a lot on... I don't know. I think there's just so much going on in these kids' lives. There's no possible way. In a weird way, thank God for Marsha, even though she's taking over. And
yeah, it's keeping them busy, where they really don't have to think about it too much. But
I don't know.
It's probably not a good thing at the end of the day, but we'll
No,
see.
yeah,
I mean, do you agree? I think this finale is probably going to be Logan's funeral.
Yeah, that's what I said last week.
Yeah.
That's what I think it would be a logical conclusion.
Yeah.
Right? The end of a series, the end of a life, the end... If everything really is day by day, as they're saying, it makes sense that you'd have a funeral a week later.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. But let's get into this party.
I want to get to this party.
Let's get to the party.
The tailgate party.
The tailgate party for the election. So obviously the election's the next starts the next day, right? That's what they're waiting for.
Yep.
So just everybody, pretty much Jerry, everyone's there. The old usual suspects, but This is my favorite part of the show is when they just have these events like this, and it's just basically people having these little one-on-one interactions with each other, and then everything's collapsing throughout the whole place.
Totally agree.
And like you said, we got some more Greg, but then, Kendall gets up, gives a speech. Pretty good speech. He had the room, and then Mattson walks in unexpectedly, but Shiv, the double agent Shiv, was the one who told him to come. And obviously she's playing both sides here, no doubt about it. But at the end of this episode, she might have played the wrong side with Mattson. What do you think?
No, I definitely think she played the wrong side with Mattson. I think that the reality of the situation is that Shiv has absolutely no idea what she's doing. That's not to say, by the way, that the other kids do know what they're doing. But this it just shows it point blank. No research is done. They just going by emotion and feelings. This is a business. And it's a business decision, and you have to do research and be a little bit smarter about stuff. I think that Kendall is really set up here to do some really smart stuff at the end of the episode based on the information that is given. Just to clarify, it is found out that Mattson's numbers of subscribers, so Gojo is a virtual, it's like a Netflix, right? Or something like that, right? Or YouTube Premium or something. And Mattson's subscriber count in India has magically doubled. Yeah. As if there was a second India. Right. And he's apparently okay with it. He's totally okay with it. And only to the extent that it drives the value of his company up because it doesn't show where all the subscribers are. It just says how many subscribers there are
added. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it's found out that his numbers are completely fraudulent. And, he goes, it's a great scene when Shiv calls him out on it, and they're in private talking, which I believe I have a picture of, right here. We'll go back in a second. But during this scene with Shiv and Mattson, he goes, it's a little bit of a bit. It was very Larry David to me.
Oh, yeah.
Very Larry David for him to be like, as if it's a problem, and it's it's a little bit of a problem. Yeah. And I died. I thought it was fantastically done. I think the acting in this episode specifically is top notch. You can't tell me otherwise. No, everyone played their role phenomenally, as they always do, but in this episode specifically, it was very well done. And again, you know me, I don't know. I like when you have everybody in a confined space because there's always drama, and it's reliant on the quality of the writing to 100%. Carry the show.
Yeah.
Because there's no explosions, there's no death, there's nothing crazy that happens. It's all writing, it's all conversation.
So good.
One thing we didn't talk about, and I don't even know if I have a picture of it, is Nate showing up.
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
It's Nate.
You don't think that was Shiv's scorpion?
What do you mean?
Tom gives a scorpion to say F you kill me.
Yeah, but didn't Kendall ask to have Nate there?
Right, but I'm saying he asked Shiv if it was okay, and Shiv said, yeah, why not? It's Shiv's house.
Oh, yeah.
Shiv and Tom's house.
Yeah.
And she slept with Nate.
Yep.
Like,
she did do that. Yeah. I mean, no, definitely. I do. Yeah. Are you saying if the scorpion thing didn't happen, would Shiv have said no?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. Like, when you have that, you're trying to rekindle, if you're trying to do all these things.
Yeah.
I just feel like Shiv would have said, no, you're out of your mind.
I did love the callback that Nate made when he comes in and he's like, oh, I'll make sure not to drink too much of the wine. Remember when at the party? I tweeted this out. Follow Wilco Media on Twitter if you'd like. Yeah. I tweeted this out, though. It was my favorite line of the episode. I don't know if you have one or not. Because there were the writing in this episode specifically is so good. But when he says, no, drink all the wine you want, basically. And then Tom says to Nate, he goes, it's fruity, and it's the type of wine that separates the connoisseurs from the weekend Malbec morons. Yeah.
I again love that line. I was like, that is so good. Yep. It's so good, and it was so
pretentious.
Yeah, but it was like such a slap in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was such a high-class slap to Nate. It was fantastic. And I don't know, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Let's bounce back that little quick interaction between Jerry and Roman. Obviously, the first time since that he fired her. Very abruptly.
That firing was just it was a thing.
He's gonna walk that back.
He was feeling kind of fiery.
Yes, but
idiot.
Roman tries to backtrack that, and then this is the scene from the trailer that we saw when Jerry threatens to go public.
Yeah.
About obviously all the pictures that Roman sent her over the years.
Sure.
Obviously we've been saying this. This is gonna have big consequences, I think, for Roman. If he can't backtrack this and get Jerry back on his good side, I mean, it's not going to end well. What do you think?
This is exactly where I thought she would have. When you're in the middle of an argument, right? It's very difficult to kind of think things through, which is what makes me like Jerry so much. Is she doesn't snap back. Roman flies off the handle.
Yeah.
Jerry's very mature,
very reserved. She doesn't show her cards.
Right. So what did she do after she got quote unquote fired? She went and spoke with her attorney and PR people, and exactly what I thought was going to happen. And she throws it in his face a little bit, but it's clear that she hasn't mentioned anything to anybody else about the pictures.
Yes.
But she does threaten that,
like a ticking time bomb. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't give me millions and millions and millions, eye-watering sums of money, she says.
Yeah.
That she's going to come forward with the endless pictures of his genitalia that she has received on her phone. And rightfully so, like, he has nothing to say.
No.
That's why
Cough
you don't
up the money.
You don't
That's why you don't fire people randomly on the spot based on pure impulse.
It's also why
you don't send people pictures of your genitalia unsolicited.
Especially ones you work with. You don't shit where you eat.
Amen. Amen. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting here. Obviously, at the end of last episode, you didn't think Roman was trending in a good direction.
Still don't think.
Yeah, I don't think he is. But we shall see. But let's talk about this scene right here.
I know you loved it because you texted me.
I fucking loved this scene, man.
Very well
and actually, I was watching it with Allie, and she was late. She fell asleep right before this scene happened.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so
did you not slap? I mean,
no,
I don't want any views, but did you not wake her up?
No, I tried, but I'm gonna have to have her watch that scene now because,
dude.
So normally, like, this is a bad thing to say, when you get taken out of it because of the acting, but I was taken out of it in a good way.
Explain.
And to point, like, the acting was so good, I, like, removed myself and said, hang on, these aren't actors. I mean, these aren't real people. You know,
yeah.
It was that good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because sometimes bad acting can take you out and be like, this isn't real. This was so real, you know? And like you said, it's been such a buildup. They really haven't had a back and forth like this yet at this level, and just everything comes out from both sides. One line that killed me with Tom was when he was like, after our wedding, and you banged the whole phone book.
Oh my God, it's
Like,
so
oh my
good.
God.
He says another time. He says your sense of self is this thin.
Yeah.
He has some great lines.
I think he won this argument.
I don't know. I think he said. I think so. One thing I love is I don't know if you've ever fought. Hopefully not with Allie. I mean, I love Allie. I think she's amazing. I hope you guys. It seems like you guys have a great relationship, and I'm not trying to call you out publicly here at all. But I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in a fight with a loved one like that in a relationship. I don't know if you noticed this about me. I'm pretty fiery, even in a friendship.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In a relationship, I can get pretty fiery as well. And sometimes, much like Roman, you can say things that just go a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Tom has no idea that she's pregnant at this point. And he
did
does
say
say,
that.
I don't think you're fit to have children.
Did he say that before or after she said that she doesn't care about him?
I don't.
Because that's a low blow too, but that might have been after he said that.
But she's already said to him in previous fights or previous arguments that she doesn't love him.
Yeah.
And he does love her. I mean, he says, I married you for love. And she says, you married me for power. She says that the mother loves her more than she loves him because she's mental, basically. They both say some things that are incredibly, I mean, just such like jugular, low blow, horrible things to each other.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of them really mean the things that they're saying. I think they're just trying to win.
Yeah.
I think it's what they're used to is do whatever you can to win whatever situation you're in. And I think that, you know, when you're in a fight, whether it's physical or verbal, your objective is to hurt the other one bad enough so that you don't get hurt yourself. I'm not saying it's the right way to be. I'm just saying that's the objective here. And so they both say some of the shittiest things.
Yeah, they
I
do.
mean, it's so bad, some of the stuff that they say. And I think Tom needed it, though. I think he gets a lot of stuff off his chest that he's been trying to say. You're right about the acting. It's so awkward because it's not like because Tom is so awkward. I mean, he's so doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
You know,
no, he was ready.
And finally, I mean, if you look back, he every single scene between the two of them in at least this season, and in previous seasons when they're arguing, but every single time Tom wants to bring something up and he says like, did you want to talk about it or whatever?
Yeah.
She goes, well, now's not a good time. And she tries to do it in this scene as well. And he doesn't let her get away
He
this
wouldn't
time.
avoid it, yeah.
I really enjoyed it, not to jump around too much, but at the end of this scene when Tom walks inside and he goes, okay, get the fuck out of my house. I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
Yep.
And they all go, ha, 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 and he goes, get out of my house.
Yep.
Like, please leave. I just thought it was great. Party's over. There's a joke in my family that my grandfather at the end of a party, because my grandmother used to throw these huge parties with people. Yeah. And there's a joke in my family that my grandfather would go into the bathroom and come out with a toothbrush and start flicking the lights on and off when he wanted people to leave. Same type of deal. Very funny. But he's hurt. I think he's really hurt.
Yeah.
We see it.
I mean, obviously, it's
here.
just funny because this episode starts off and you're like, oh, Shiv and Tom might actually get through this. And then it ends just like, nope.
Yeah.
In this great shot of Tom laying in his bed. And then we kind of leave off on a very somber note. What do you think's next? 3 episodes left.
I could see so you know how they say like if you get into it's very common for when two men get into a fist fight that they become best friends right after the fist fight.
Yeah,
like they'll hate each other and then they get into a fist fight and become best friends. I could see that this pot boiled over a little bit, and I think that there may be a rekindling of some sort
because now everything was thrown on the table.
Yeah, I think everybody knows where everybody stands.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any secrets anymore.
But I do agree with you though. The thing about her with the child though might be too big of a punch to the gut.
Well, yeah, I think it's safe to say that it's not his.
But you think so?
It's not Tom's?
You don't think it's his kid?
Well, episode 1, she's 20 weeks. It might be his like from right before he betrayed her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In Italy.
Yeah.
I still think
it
it is his, but still they haven't addressed the fact that she continues to drink and all this stuff. So I really
Which
don't.
is weird. Now, just to go off of the episode, but more into the behind the scenes thing. I every week I listen to the podcast
They
after
never
the
talk
episode,
about it, right?
but they mentioned her being pregnant because he directly says that you're not fit to be a mom.
Yes.
So the woman who does the podcast for HBO for Succession mentions, and he's on the episode. By the way, you always know that, like, I'm starting to understand where everything's going, based on who they have in that podcast. So, like, in episode 3, when Logan dies, they interviewed Brian Cox.
Yeah.
This one was Tom's episode, so they interviewed Tom. But there are people they haven't interviewed yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they haven't interviewed Nicholas Braun yet.
Oh, interesting.
I know. Sorry, I'm very excited. I love the show, but I love all of it, like, trying to figure it out. Yeah. It's like a puzzle. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, trying to figure everything out. So I'm very excited for that. That could be very interesting. They have interviewed Sarah Snook. They haven't. I don't think they've had Jeremy Strong on yet. But anyway, they mention it directly, but they didn't mention the drinking or the drugs.
Yeah.
So it kind of lends into the whole, like, what's gonna happen?
I think it's the more they don't talk about it, the more I think it's gonna end in a bad way.
Well, I don't disagree with you, number one. Number two, though, we also have to realize that the season is day by day. So even though there are 3 weeks left in the show, there's only 3 days left in Succession universe. So what can happen in 3 days?
Good point. They continue to do the day by day, which they probably will.
It would be absolutely bizarre if they didn't.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're over halfway through the season.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have something like House of the Dragon, right? They did 3 episodes, time jump, 3 episodes, time jump. But this would be, they're 70% through.
No, you're right.
You know? So, yeah, I don't know what can happen in 3 days. I mean, if there's any sort of ending to a pregnancy, you're looking at multiple days in a hospital, which would take Sarah Snook out of the equation entirely for the rest of the season, basically. Like, we only have 3 days. We have 72 hours or whatever it is to kind of wrap everything up.
I'm excited.
So, yeah. I'm super pumped.
Yeah, it's going to be
Are we doing a finale? What do we think?
I think so. We'll be doing a finale review maybe
like
right after the show.
Yeah.
We'll get into it. Yeah.
I know. It's going to be a late night for RJ.
Oh, yeah. But listen, we're excited. Hope you're excited. Let us know down below what you thought of this episode.
Please.
We'll be talking about episode 8. It's crazy how close we are to the end. We talk about that next week. We'll do a finale post-episode review when that hits. And, yeah, guys, thank you for watching. As always, the Movie Mob Podcast drops every Friday at 6 p.m. We get the Movie Roulette every Mondays at 12 p.m. in Matt's little show there, Sidelined NBA edition.
Not Wednesdays. There's anything wrong with little show.
What?
You said little show.
Yeah. Well,
Matt's little side gig there.
Issue. That's at 12 p.m. on Wednesdays, so check that out. NBA playoffs is getting interesting, so check it out. Comment below, like, subscribe. It really helps out the channel, guys. We appreciate everyone who's new to the channel, everyone who's been here. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week. How you doing?